Welcome to our Teen and Parent webinar series, where we explore one of the most important journeys families face together: understanding the teen brain, the risks of addiction, and the power of healthy communication. Adolescence is a time of rapid growth and change, physically, emotionally, and neurologically, and these changes can sometimes make it hard for parents and teens to connect. In this series, we'll break down the science of the developing brain, discuss how substance use impacts decision-making and long-term health, and provide practical tools for strengthening communication and building resilience at home. Today, we have Dr. Donald Reed from the McDowell County Hope Coalition and Mr. Cliff Atkins from Clear Story Counseling.
Good morning. I'm Dr. Donald Reed with the McDowell County Hope Coalition. Thank you for joining today's webinar, part of our ongoing series of strengthening communication between teens and parents. This session is funded by the West Virginia First Foundation, and we're grateful for their support in bringing us these important conversations to life. Today, we're going to focus on a topic that nearly impacts every young person: navigating the stress and expectations of social media. Whether it's comparing ourselves to what we see online, dealing with the pressure to post the perfect image, or just feeling overwhelmed with the constant notifications, social media can impact our confidence, our relationships, and even our mental health. Joining us today for this conversation is Brock Jackson from the McDowell Hope Coalition and Cliff Atkins, a licensed professional counselor with Clear Story Counseling, who works closely with teens and families on issues like stress, anxiety, and healthy communication. Brock, we'll turn this over to you and let you ask the questions.
All righty. So I guess we'll start this off with one of my first questions here.
Yeah.
So Cliff, a lot of us feel, the pressure to always feel happy or successful online. So why do you feel that social media makes us feel like we have to feel perfect?
I would say because whenever we leave the house, whenever you look differently out in public than you do just walking around your house. You want to make sure that you're presentable to all the people that you'll see, that you'll run into. And when we post on social media, we're amplifying that public by hundreds or thousands, depending on how many people you're connected with online. We will go to the store in pajamas sometimes because we have to rush out to grab something, and we'll say, I hope I don't run into anyone that I know. We don't want to run into one person that we know dressed like that. When we post to social media, there's not will somebody see this? It's like everybody's going to see this, and we know that. And so that desire and drive to be perfect, we want everything to just be exactly the way, and we have a lot of control over what we post on social media. We can filter our pictures, we can make the caption whatever we want. We can what I would say, church it up how to the max when we post online, and that's what we typically do.
Yeah, actually, when I was looking over these questions, I thought there's always a behind the scenes behind every post.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, and we've done that, right? Like if we're honest, we've either posted a picture and it's like everybody's smiling and laughing, and or we were at an event or something and we saw pictures and everybody is smiling and laughing, and we're like, and the caption will be all like perfectly written and, oh, such a great time with the family, and everybody that was in that picture knows it was wild. Like there was crazy things happening. Everybody just smiled for a few minutes, and yeah, and that's what everybody gets to see.
Yeah. So sometimes we compare our real lives to what we see on other people's posts. But what's a healthy way to remind ourselves that social media isn't always real life?
Yeah. I would say the way to get around that is to realize that social media is never real life. Like, not that it sometimes is and sometimes isn't. I would go to social media expecting it not to be real, um, any of it, because the whole point of social media, the whole point is to get people's attention. And that's for all of us. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, when this video gets posted, you'll try to think of a good caption to grab someone's attention so that they'll watch it. Whenever we post our pictures, we want to grab people's attention. Well, you think differently. That's, you're thinking creative, and you're not thinking just real. Like, here's what it is. We know we got to fix things up. So when you want to grab somebody's attention, you're going to get the highlights. And so when you go to social media, you have to tell yourself, I'm watching someone's highlights. That you're not watching their real life. You're absolutely not. Like, and so we're so aware of ours. Like, we are so aware. For example, like right now, even you're looking at me, you see a chair, you see a curtain behind me. That's all you see. You cannot see everything around the camera. You can't see if there's messes in the room. I can, though. I'm very aware of everything that's out of place in this room, but you can't see it. So if I'm looking at your highlight reel while I'm sitting in the middle of my reality, so I'm looking at your fantasy while I'm sitting in my reality, those two things rub together. Now, if I go to social media realizing that, like, oh, I'm seeing the highlights of Brock's vacation, that you can handle it a little better. If you go to it thinking this isn't real, like, this is just the high points.
I thought of just something to interject. The Cliff Note version, not to borrow your name,
Yeah.
that's really what you're seeing on social media.
Yeah. That's exactly what you're seeing.
Yeah, so a lot of times notifications and messages can make it feel like we can't ever unplug. But what are some simple ways to set boundaries without feeling like we're missing out?
Yeah. Um, well, I would say, for starters, when it comes to social media, you're never missing out, ever. If there was something that you could be a part of, then somebody would text you, right? Somebody would, like, message you or call you. That's why social media is so interesting, I think, because if my 4-year-old does something really cute and I catch it in a picture, I text it to everyone that really, like, matters to me. Like, I'll send it in a text. Everybody that truly matters is in my phone as a cell phone number that I can send those pictures to. So it's interesting that we still put it up, though, for, like, all the other people to see. And so with social media notifications, we're like, I need to know what's going on. And if somebody posts this, or if you post a picture, that's the worst, right? Because if you post a picture, you want to start seeing how many likes it gets and if it's getting any traction. And so I think being disciplined in that, turning those notifications off. I mean, why do you need social media notifications? Like, that's not a necessity. You're not going to miss out on anything. Nothing that you can't check. If you set your phone and you're like, okay, at the top of every hour, I'll check my phone. I mean, it would be setting boundaries like that for yourself, like setting, like, every hour I'll check my phone for 2 minutes, and I'll 2 minutes and I'm off, 2 minutes and I'm off. And it's being disciplined with that. But that's tough because they are
Mhm.
designed to get you addicted. Like, they tap into the same parts of your brain as addiction does. I mean,
So this next question has a little bit of two parts. So, how can we tell the difference, obviously, between normal stress from social media when it's starting to hurt our mental health? And the second part of it is a lot of times you can notice certain people with certain stresses post pictures of other people, like their family, but not necessarily so much about themselves. So,
mm,
what's your thoughts about both of those?
um, I would say when it comes to when do you know? So the first question, like when do you know like it's starting to get unhealthy? A lot of people probably are unaware that. So whenever you are getting attention from social media, it's a reward. Every heart, every like is like it's a spike in dopamine. Boom, boom. It's that pleasure center part of your brain. However, when we drift over into comparison mode and you start to compare yourself to other people, which is the easiest thing to do if we're honest in social media when we're looking at somebody's highlight reel, the part of your brain that fires up is the amygdala. It's the threat response. Like you feel threat, like the same as if like you were being attacked, like somebody was attacking you. Like the same part of your brain fires up in those moments. And so, I mean, if you think about that, like if you find yourself comparing, that's where I would say social media is meant to imagine if you love someone and they're showing you the highlights of their trip, you're happy for them. Oh my gosh, that's so cool you got to go on that trip. That's amazing. Ah, like because you love that person. The second you start to feel that jealousy or envy, or it causes you to look at your life and go, ugh, like what am I doing? Like they get to go on 5 vacations a year. What are they doing? The second you start to feel that threat, understand that like you've drifted now. That's not like you've gone into scary territory. If you're watching political videos and all this other stuff and it starts to fire up that anger, it's like realize that's what it's supposed to do. It's not supposed to inform you. It's not supposed to inform you. It's supposed to keep your attention. That's what it's supposed to do. And so you'll hear people all the time be like, I was reading the other day, and it's like, no, you weren't. You were reading on Facebook. Like you read a fact on Facebook. That is not the same as I was reading the other day, but that's how people will do it. And it's like that, whatever you read was meant to get your attention. It was not meant to inform you. In fact, social media, all the studies show that it really just reinforces what you already believe typically. Um, because when we're confronted with alternative information, that threat rises up in us. And so I would say the second you start to feel that like that anxiousness, that again, that threat comparison, you've drifted over into unhealthy territory. Um, and I would say with what people post, people are posting what they want other people to see. And they're not posting what they don't want people to see. So like I always say, people will say filters are fake, but I'm like, they're not fake. They're telling you exactly what that person wishes they look like. Like it is telling you a truth, like even filters, because they're saying, this is what I wish the colors would be like. This is what I wish I look like. This is how smooth I wish my face was. This is how skinny I wish my waist was. Um, they're telling you what they wish they look like when they do that. So I mean, you really can tell a lot about what's going on. I mean, how many times is it that like somebody starts posting a bunch of like um doing self-care, I'm working on my mental health, I'm so strong, and we're like, oh no, they're going through something. Like they're like, we know there's like these trends that everybody follows, that it's like, oh, okay, that's what's happening. And so if people's posting a lot about their family, they could just be really proud of their family, and they don't need attention. They don't want it. They want the focus to be on their family and things like that. But I do think paying attention to our friends' social media posts can be telling. Like if you start to see somebody starts posting every 30 minutes, 15 minutes is it's like hit them up like you good? Like what's like you're trying to grab a lot of attention right now. Like is everything good? Because again, that's what social media is. Every time we make a post, we're like, I hope this gets a lot of attention.
Do you think it's really a way of them expressing their insecurities without really saying it openly?
Oh, sure. Oh, absolutely. People can do that. Yeah. One of the most common things is when a relationship is going really bad. A lot of times, like a couple out of nowhere will start posting a ton of pictures of themselves and writing about how great everything's. And that's like not saying that that happens every time, but that's like a common thing that people will joke and laugh about. But absolutely, it can be because people can be very insecure, and so they'll post a picture of themselves hoping that it gets a lot of feedback, a lot of like, oh my gosh, you're so beautiful, or you look so good, or that like that, and they're trying to they're hoping that other people will give them what they can't or what they're not giving themselves in those moments. The alternative to that, one, that's not healthy, because you're looking for outside validation rather than validation from yourself. And then two, if you get ignored, again, studies show that the part of your brain that's effective is the pain, is pain. So like you feel rejected. So it could double that insecurity. If it doesn't go the way you want it to go, it could actually like psychologically double that insecurity. It's a really risky game, but I think a lot of people do post what they're insecure about, hoping that people will give them that feedback.
So, what would be your advice for teens who want to talk to their parents about something they saw or experienced online? So, what's a good way to start that conversation?
This is this it can be tricky because it depends on the parent. Some people are blessed with parents. I've said it on here before. I say it all the time that parents have to be safer than Google. If you want to really know what's going on inside of your teenager's mind, you need to be a safer place than the Google search bar, and the bus or the classroom. And so if a parent isn't a safe place for their kid to come and talk, like I would urge parents to work on that very first and to let the kids know it's a safe place. If I'm a kid I would say, hey, I have something I want to ask you or I want to talk about. Um, do you want me to come to you with this, or should I go to and name another adult that they trust? Because maybe that parent will say, no, yeah, go talk to your teacher or go talk to your coach or go talk to your youth pastor, your pastor or somebody, go talk to your boss. Like, yeah, I don't know about that. I don't want to deal with that. But the other thing too is it puts the parent in the position to say, yes, like I want you to come to me with anything and everything. And I would urge parents, if your kid is coming to you with a question or with a concern, if they are coming to you first, all the grace and peace in the world should be poured over that kid. All like if you want to foster that and you want that to keep happening, if you react very strongly, you are communicating to your child, don't ever do this again. Like don't do, and your kid will pick up on that. Like, I mean, it really does take like I just think that's the most important part of a parent-child relationship. I really do, because your child will be an adult far longer than they will be a child. And the relationship between an adult child and an adult and their parent is going to be conversations. That's what it turns into, is just, and so if you're not easily, if they can't come to you with everything, like they'll quit coming to you. Like they'll quit. And so for teenagers, I mean, I really feel for a teenager whose parent just shuts them down. I really do. I would encourage those teenagers to find an adult that really will give them that safe place to kind of talk through things and discuss things. And I hope it would be their parent.
So obviously, many of us use social media for good things, but sharing our stories and connecting with friends or spreading hope, how can we use social media in ways that actually build us up instead of tear others down?
I think it would be making sure that your content and what you're putting out there is designed to lift others up. Uh, to give them, if you're trying to give them helpful tips on something, if if you want to put out there, at the end of your vacation, pictures like, this is where we went. If anybody's thinking about going there, hit me up. Like, let me know. I'll hook you. Let you know like the highlights and like the do's and don'ts of where you're going. It's like building other people up. Like you're doing it. Like, here's where we went. But I'll help you out if you ever want to go here. Like, I can tell you, because it's like, obviously we did things that weren't fun and that I would tell somebody to avoid. We didn't take pictures of those places. Like, we can tell you what to, but I think it's when you're constantly, but if you're propping yourself up, or you're doing this to like get at somebody else or to show somebody else this, or like you're posting a video because this side is, they need to be educated and they need to da 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 da. So I'm going to post a video and show them. It's like there's zero evidence that proves that's going to be effective. And you're just being combative. You're being passive aggressive, or you're using social media as a weapon rather than as something to encourage other people. I think that's wherever your heart is when you post something is what matters.
Let me ask a question here, because it's hunting season, and we see my Facebook is inundated with all these huge photos of these bucks, and everybody from the 9-year-old to the 80-year-old has killed these huge deers. But maybe I didn't. Maybe maybe I killed Bambi. you know, sometimes that's hard to frame positively on social media. So that's kind of a real life example. If you feel like that what you did doesn't meet, what you see online, how do you still celebrate your own success without feeling like it has to measure up to somebody else's?
I think with social media, you have to be incredibly self-aware, and you have to be honest with yourself with how it affects you and impacts you. I'm very honest with people with how it impacts me. For example, I love to travel. And when I go through seasons of my life where I don't get to because I'm busy or funds are low or for whatever reason, I have to stay off Facebook. I have to, because I will not be happy for people who are traveling. I'm just not. I'm jealous. It hits me wrong. I start to get even more anxious. I personally struggle in those times of life. So if I'm a hunter and I'm not doing well, you probably don't need to get online. Like, you just don't need to do it. If you're fired up politically, there are probably seasons where you don't need to be on there. You need to be honest with yourself, and you're like, every time I get on this, I'm angry or I get worked up or I feel bad about myself. Like you have to be self-aware. So that's what I would say to those hunters. And it's also like, again, the people that matter are in your phone. Like you don't even have to post what you did. Like it's strangers as who you're really posting that for. Like your family's in your phone. You can send them a picture of that deer and be like, hey, like look what I did. Like you don't have to see what everybody else is doing. I just think you have to be very, very self-aware of how it impacts you.
So finally, with our last question here, what's one piece of advice you'd give to teens who are trying to balance being authentic online while still protecting their mental health?
Hmm. If if you were a teenager, I would say don't have social media. You shouldn't have it at all. I mean, it's like I I don't think that, let's be honest. I've said this to so many adults because adults are all the time like uh the common thing is like now they'll say like the boomer generation, boomers are all the time like kids are always on their phone, but when you go over to their houses, they're in their iPad. Like they're stuck and like you're like, hey, 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 like over here, and they're in their iPad and they're like, yeah, what? Like, and we act like we're not great at social media as adults. Like we don't handle it the best. And so to think a 13-year-old would, like when they're right in the middle of like what it means to be accepted and to measure up is the most important thing in their lives. And they have low impulse control and their critical thinking and the problem solving part of their brain is just starting to be developed, like really take off and be, but it's their years from it being established. And I would say don't be on social media. If as a parent, you're worried about um, your kids not knowing like what's popular and what's going on, it's like, well, then sit down with them in the evening for an hour and watch TikTok together, or like scroll together in the evenings, like so that your kids can keep up. But to give a kid a cell phone with social media and be like, good, use some self-control, use some self-discipline while you're looking at everyone else's highlight reel along with all kinds of information that they do not need to be exposed to, without, and you can't control that. Like you absolutely can't control it because again, the whole point of social media is to get your attention. It is not to make you a better person. It is to get your attention. That's what advertisers are thinking. That's what any influencer is thinking. So as a teen, I would first off say don't be on social media. If you like don't like text your friends, FaceTime your friends. Um don't get involved. But if you do have social media, because most of them do, it's limiting your time. I wouldn't spend over an hour a day uh on doing that, like being on it. I would just be, but again, you're talking about a teenager. How do it's addictive. How long are we on our phones throughout the day? I mean, being honest, the second that we're done talking, I'm gonna check my phone. Like that's what I'm gonna do. Like I'm gonna check my phone. And I'm an adult, and it's like how we'll sit there and doom scroll for, and we'll look up and an hour's gone by. We're like, oh my gosh, like so you're telling me a 13-year-old is gonna like be more? That's a hard sell, but that's what I would say. If you're gonna have it, limit your time on it.
Well, our time is up, and if you're watching online, we hope this was interesting enough to get your attention. Social media can connect us in powerful ways, but it also can create that stress and unrealistic expectations. What we've heard today reminds us that balance and communication are key. When teens feel safe talking about what they've experienced online, and parents listen with understanding instead of judgment, we build stronger, healthier families, and that's the goal. Thank you for joining us. Until next month, have a great day.